human rights activist in my parallel life, and I think it is very important. I'm supposed to explain to you the path that lead us to this final product. The final product is a video, and is a video that we construct together with my students, our students in CPIA. CPIA is a school, it's a very big school, adult school. We worked during 6 lessons, as she told you, so I won't be, I will go very fast in on this. We had gender, according to gender, there were male and female students, different ages, from 16 to 30, a lot of nationalities, 17, sorry, and different religion. They were mainly Muslims, but there were non-religious persons, and some Protestants, some Orthodox, and as you see. This was the planning. She explained it to you. The aims and purpose, I think you understood them. And let's come to the video. So, sorry if can I still do? The organization of our entire work in the lessons and the video was based, in a way, it was a practical work, but each practice has a theory. So the theory basically was what Ernesto de Martino called critical ethnocentrism, a constant exchange between visions, different visions, and the objective was to construct a shared and common ethic ground on which we can meet all together, and that was capable to go beyond each personal and groupal tradition, religious tradition, cultural tradition, and so on. So what we did, just to be very brief because I speak a lot, I wrote something. So at the end of this 6-lesson cycle, we started a workshop. What we did in the workshop, this workshop was naturally perceived by the students as a continuation of the path we started with the lessons, with the expert lessons, which in many cases were already been delivered with a practical approach, workshop approaches, and small samples of shared writing, group work, body exercises. The participation was excellent, was characterized by the very big seriousness of the students and by a very high level of mutual listening, so it was fantastic to work with them. The methodology we used were basically 3. The first one is not well known, but it's a kind of, it's an experience who is inspired by Elizabeth Bing, and it's a kind of expressive writing on stimulus text. So you write by stimulus and you share what you wrote. This was to construct, writing the text that would later become the raw material on which the video work script had to be built collectively, because everything was made in a collective way. This work on writing is it's very extremely detailed and rigid deliveries, and this is precisely the reason why they greatly facilitate writing, especially for those who are less familiar with the writing itself. And in addition, it has a very beneficial effects on the ability to listen to each other, and on the empathy and self-esteem of each one, of each participant. In the 2 workshop meetings, we used some simple theater exercises inspired by Augusto Boal and the Theater of the Oppressed. So inspired by Paulo Freire too. This exercise, body is a taboo. Body is a unknown territory. So we wanted to explore it. And to give the opportunity to allow students to experience a different way of living their bodies in relationship with others' bodies and with the space too. That is a metaphor of their living in a new country. For the shooting and the third methodology was shared writing. We cooperative writing. For the shooting and the editing of the video, the title is Horizons, Ideas for a Community. These are the students, some of them. We relied on an expert video maker. We shot and recorded the audio both at school and in a small neighborhood theater to have relationship with the territory too. That's called Teatro Lampadiera. And the work was very fluid. And in this way, we worked in a very short time, but with a very good result. The result of this work, I think, this is my opinion, obviously, is a choral work with a deliberately poetic view. So we tried to say what we learned in the lesson with another language more that is capable to talk to everybody, that everybody can understand. And at the end of the filming, and after watching the film, our video maker wrote us a message, and I want to share with you. The guys were fantastic. I worked with actors who made me work much harder. Maybe, I think now, a better word is really possible. These are beautiful and true words because I agree with them. And in a moment like this, and this is the critical part of my intervention, where we are living on our skin divisions and induced fears dramatically, increasingly dominate the sense of humanity in our countries. When it would be necessary and urgent to review some categories that we always used to refer to the other. For example, the category of radicalization. What is happening in Italy, I call radicalization. And this does not deal with Islamic culture. This deals with us. We are radicalizing, increasingly radicalizing ourselves. And from the beginning of, from June to now, we had in Italy 30 aggression, racist and xenophobic aggression, 30. The OSCE relation, about 217 in Italy, tells that we had over 1,000 hate crimes in Italy. And the 80% of these hate crimes were racist. Okay, so the emergency. Which is the emergency? Let's think about it. So thank you very much. And I'll show you the
Tutti nasciamo da una donna.
Tutti respiriamo. Tutti parliamo una lingua.
Tutti abbiamo bisogno di ridere.
Tutti guardiamo sempre che ora è.
Tutti abbiamo una pelle di un qualche colore.
Tutti, se veniamo feriti, sanguiniamo.
Tutti ci facciamo sfiorare dalla natura.
Tutti proviamo il dolore di una perdita.
Tutti ci ammaliamo.
Tutti vogliamo essere amati.
Tutti troviamo sempre qualcosa di nuovo per stupirci.
Tutti pensiamo.
Tutti abbiamo bisogno degli altri.
Tutti mangiamo il naso.
Tutti viviamo sul pianeta Terra.
Tutti abbiamo bisogno di soldi per vivere.
Tutti un giorno moriremo.
Tutti abbiamo paura.
Tutti ci innamoriamo.
Tutti siamo nati, nudi e liberi.
Tutti
Ci sogniamo.
Me to speak after such an emotional episode, so please put your feet on the ground and try to listen a little bit to me because I come with more concrete facts. So I come from Romania. Here is my colleague. She is a PhD in economics and English and she works in our local university. I am a teacher. I run my own foundation, professional. And I am in this project because I run a language center. And as you have already seen, language centers are included in this project in order to upscale from DOTSA's very impressive and exceptionally interesting experiment. So I would like to tell you a few things about migration. I think that all of us are migrants, more or less, because 4 million of our people from Romania, they left the country to be economic migrants in Europe. And first of all, they went and picked up strawberries in Spain. Then they pick up tomatoes in Sicily. And now, every 6 hours, a specialist doctor leaves our country. So there are more than 4 million people leaving our country. So that's a fact. Okay. Now about our course and our upscaling this very interesting experiment in DOTSA's prison, whose mother is our former speaker, Francesca, and she also piloted first on different recipients and showed us how to do it. I can tell you that all of us, all participant countries, they have to design their own course. So I decided to focus on religious freedom and on man-woman relationship because I'm an advocate for human rights and I also am an advocate for gender equality, and I'm very interested in these topics, and I had lots of projects with these topics. Okay. Right. Now I focused on these, shall I say, guidelines from the application form. Young immigrants who attend language course and require for acquisition of a school diploma, and gender equality, as I have already told you. Okay, go on. But what have we got? We have got 12 to 14 young females who are students at the University of Medicine, Pharmacy, Sciences and Technology in Târgu Mureș, high school pupils in the Mureș County with Islamic and migrant background. So most of them are Turkish females who came here who came to our city to study for economic or political reasons. 2 of them are of Kurdish origin and other 2 are of Egyptian origin, but they have also Romanian citizenship, these 2, the last one.
How did you choose this person?
So it was it was very difficult, believe me, because I had to tour the whole county and to go to the university and to schools to meet the managers, the head teachers, and to talk and to see if there are some migrants or not in their schools. And this is how I get this bunch of migrants. Okay, Loki is a former friend whom
we had a project together, and she lives now here in Brussels. Okay, so these are the girls who came first for a focus group. Okay, you see that some of them are wearing hijabs and others no. And this is the cultural mediator or the Islamic expert who helped a lot during the course. Okay. So before training, we did a focus group because we wanted to know what knowledge they have as a background on what do we have to build our course. We were interested to give them what they need. So we used a very interesting, let's say, I learned this suitcase exercise from other English ladies. So the suitcase is divided in three, and the first part is for expectations, the second for feelings, and in the third one we included the main words, the main concepts like radicalization, rights, human rights, gender equality, and other words to see what they know about this. Okay, so the module 1 was entitled Rights and Duties, consists of 4 units. The tragedy of our time, migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. Who are you? So here we were interested where they come from. How is their environment? How was their environment at home? How do they see us? Because this is very interesting to know how other people perceive your country, your people, your community, or even your school. And if we have some common values, because I think that we had a lot of common values. Even if the religions are different, we are human. So the girls who came to this course, they were very warm, very open, and I enjoyed every minute of this training. It is not finished yet. It is only in the middle of the course, but I think that we will finish it and we will have also a very good result and impact. Okay, so we have also fundamental human rights are equal for all, freedom of expression. Here we wanted to give a role model because another topic in our course will be how to
From Germany, Tom. So we are honored to be also partner in this project, and we have the possibility, or we had the possibility to work together with the professor from the University of Regensburg to create the teaching materials. We are running now the piloting phase. 2 piloting sessions were done. We have also the target group, as we are also an adult education center, and we are running a lot of courses, a lot of language courses, also courses in the vocational education. So what has been taken from the Dotra-Grid practice, it's for sure the approach of promoting intercultural understanding. Intercultural understanding, and pointing out the common values that all human beings are sharing, and develop critical thinking, so not just to think everything what is said, but also to ask and to think what is this, or what does it mean for me, and to foster the open discussions between the migrants, because we have also very often the situations that they are living in camps, and they are hating each other because some are Africans, some are Arabics, and they are living with their prejudices, and they don't want also to break down with these prejudices. So as we said, so the target group, for sure as other colleagues, so we have representatives of different also religions, and religions groups, so to say, in one big religion, because we have Christians and Muslims, and the groups and a lot of Yazidi that which were persecuted in Iraq. So our approach was to discuss firstly about the cultures, values, stereotypes, and prejudices, and search for common values. As we already mentioned, it was to raise awareness on the topic, what are my rights, but what are my duties, and what are my responsibilities in a society, or in the society I live in, to promote critical thinking and to encourage to overcome the prejudices and the stereotypical views, and also to initiate a change between the cultures, between human beings. We thought, because we had like the target group or the participants had language level between A2, B1, so we thought what a good tool could be to attract their interest. So we choose a film, and for sure there is, where in each country there are films that are dealing with and tackling prejudices and stereotypes. So we have chosen the film Almania, that is Welcome to Germany, that speaks about a Turkish family that came to Germany in the 16th as guest workers, and to underline, to show on the basis or means some film sequences what were the prejudices and with which feelings they came to Germany, and how could they manage to integrate in the society, and what does it mean to integrate and not to assimilate. So where is the limit, the
balance.
Yes, borders between these two concepts. And so they found it really very interesting, because it was great to see through the videos what are the prejudices, so they could laugh. So this created a very friendly atmosphere, and in this way they were also encouraged to speak and to articulate their opinion. We think that it was very, very good session, piloting session. The observers, because we had also observers, could praise the engagement of the learners, the interaction between the trainers and trainees, and in general the engaging learning atmosphere, because they were really ready to learn something and to think why they think in this way and why they build their relations on stereotypes. So we encouraged also the partners to find maybe some film sequences and to take this approach to deal with this topic. So I think I was very quickly, because I wanted just to show you also a short sequence I have also the internet. Just an overview.
Deutschland soll es doch so kalt sein. Die habe ich selbst gestrickt. Die Deutschen sollen doch so dreckig sein.
The Germans are dirty.
Menschen.
Die Imports
Sieht aber seltsam aus.
Sieht ja genauso aus wie bei uns. Eine Riesenratte und eine gibt's Riesenratten.
Was ist das für ein komischer Stuhl?
Wir dürfen die Getränke doch vorher nicht sehen.
Die sind egal verpackt.
Christmas also, because the children want also to have this.
Ich habe Überraschung.
Wir sind jetzt Deutsche.
Was sind Sie denn jetzt? Türken oder Deutsche?
Deutsche?
Nein, ich habe ein Haus gekauft in Türkei. In Heimat. Warum das denn? Wir waren alle zusammen, wie früher.
Früher haben wir auch alle in ein Auto gepasst.
Krass, ey. Hier steht, dass die Bundeskanzlerin anwesend sein wird und dass sie sich freuen würde, wenn du als 1 Million und erster Gastarbeiter etwas zum Anlass sagen würdest.
Hey Angela.
Okay.
Hello everybody, I will try to be quick. So Ambit is a Spanish organization based in Valencia. We work with disadvantaged people, with inmate and ex-inmates that are out of prison and try to reinsert them in society, and also with people with mental health issues. We have started our trainings. We have chosen 2 different kind of workshops. One in schools, in secondary schools with students, so not just migrants. We have involved also the receiving communities, so there were mixed migrants, not only from Islamic faith, but also from Latin America. This is one of the biggest migration in Spain. So, and the other workshop is, it hasn't happened yet. It will be in the next few days. We will start with inmates, ex-inmates, and migrant people in collaboration with the Spanish SEA, the Spanish Council on the Aid to the Refugee People, and the Jesuit Service to the Migrants. So what we've taken from the DOTA, good practice, so the non-formal education, a common space for sharing experience, and critical thinking on rights and on obligation also. So we've taken the constitutionalist part, but we would like to stress the importance of the human rights also perspective. So because we would like to say that migrate is a right. It is it's written in many constitution that we've all signed, and also the right to seek asylum in a foreign country when you're escaping. So that's the shift we would like to give to the whole trainings. And so the non-formal education, there are women and men also in the training, so that's different from the Delta GP. And also a different analysis on radicalization from a point of view that Francesca from CPI was talking about, not just religious-based radicalization, but also social. And we are really worried about what is happening now in Europe and in Spain as well. We are the same as in Italy, and so we would like to analyze that, and so for that we have decided to include the receiving society in order to have a better dialogue. So as I said, there are 2 groups in this secondary school in Valencia. The classes are happen during school hours, so it was like a normal class. There were students from 14 to 17 years old, from different ethnicity, as I say, students from Latin America, Cameroon and Morocco, but also, well, Spanish students. 25 students in each group, and we focus the training on the identity building because of this mix of identity. The other group will be, as I say, people from migrant people, inmates, and ex-inmates from different faiths, including Islam, but not just Islam. There will be 55 users with it. The course hasn't started yet, so we don't know precisely. And here are the topic addressed in the group. So we stress the idea of identity and sense of belonging, religion and belief, violent extremism and terrorism, but also how ideologies and narrative are presented in the media. So what the media contribute, how they contribute to create stereotypes and so gender and masculinity is very important also in our training, social justice, and try to conflict resolution, so give me some tools to solve the conflict that can happen in society. And the last session will be a plenary session with the 3 groups all together, so students and also the people from CEAR and AMLI. We have just done the first part of the training, the first 4 sessions with the students. So I just want to stress that 2 of the trainers were done by direct stakeholders, so refugees, a cultural mediator from Western Sahara, a refugee, and a law expert from, he's an asylum seeker from Venezuela. And so this was important to have the direct stakeholder, the migrants and the refugees, to be on the other side, to give the trainings. And that they were quite interesting in the reaction of the students. I'll say later when I say about the results. So the methodology we used were informal education, because they were very young people. We tried to interact, so role plays with cards and also interactive tests that they can do with their mobile phones about Islamophobia, and also we use audiovisual material because it's most directly. So I have some pictures of the trainings. Here are the normal class in Spanish speak. And these are the advertisement of the next course we're going to do. So the result, in total we'll reach 70 people, 75 people will receive this training, so it's a quite important number. So we said we wanted to have to spark a debate on the respect of diversity, migration, and the analysis of the rise of Islamophobia. So we stripped a bit of the focus on more than on the other worrying radicalization that is happening. And as I said, there was at first a reject for this refugee Muslim person that wanted to give a class to these students, and so that was a very good exercise in how to break those stereotypes that we many times have. So they will notice a big ignorance about concepts like Arab, Muslim, Islamist, Islam, that we all sometimes put together, and so we could really see that these concepts are all mixed up, and there are loads of stereotypes and prejudices that we could tackle. And we saw really good results with this approach, insisting on human rights and respect and diversity, that I think all our my colleagues in the consulting are focusing on. So these the results will be presented in Valencia in February during the Human Rights Film Festival of Valencia. There will be a debate also where we will involve different organizations working on working with migrants, and also from institutions from the Valencia City Council. And just some recommendation, I've already said, we're so very important to work with migrant people, but also with the receiving community. So to involve direct stakeholders, we saw with health trainers, and also to work not just with first generation migrants, but also with second and third generation. So those are our recommendations. I don't know if Javi wants to say something. Just very quick because we have little.
No,
yes.
thank you for all. Our organization, we work with the recovery of the person. We provide our prisoners and especially with a mental health problem and without. But now we invite, before invite as a member of European Parliament, but our opinion about this question is that no one is an illegal migrant. Migration is a universal right, and asylum is an adaptive for European Union. About this question, 1 minute, 2 minutes, thank you for staying here.
We are late, so 1-2 minutes, not
Okay.
more.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank my colleagues from AMBI for inviting me to share with you this time, this very interesting information about your work with migrants and struggling for integration. I agree with you that the European Union is not doing its work. Absolutely, absolutely. We have no legal tools to tackle the phenomenon of migration. We have a terrible perspective because all the time leaders of the European Union, like Mr. Juncker or the President of the European Council, every time they speak about migration, they linked terrible migration with security, with terrorism, and we cannot understand that. We have to struggle to change the perspective. I have worked for a lot of time as journalist before engaging in politics, before being absorbed by politics, and my specialty was social journalism. I traveled a lot around the world, in Africa and Asia, writing books about the situation of women in different places, Africa and India, for example. And I have discovered, which is something which is an evidence for you because you are professionals of this issue, which is that there are a lot of places, thousands of places all over the world where it's absolutely impossible to live with dignity. Absolutely impossible. So that means that migration is not going to stop. First of all, we have to fight to avoid these circumstances all over the world because we are from the European Union, we are the richest part in the world, and we have the power to change that. And then we have to tackle immigration from the point of view of a global human problem, and with the solidarity perspective. This is the only solution to that. We have a lot of things to change, and we are suffering now in Europe. We are discovering that we are not so open and not so pluralist and not so solidary as we used to think, and we have to think seriously about what does it mean, the famous phrase, European values. Are we implementing European values in Europe and in our foreign policy or not? So there are a lot of things to think about, but of course we have to change, first of all, this European perspective to link immigration with terrorism, with insecurity, with problems. Thank you very much for being here.
Now, Dorin Matoiu from CPIP, Romania.
I'm representing Romania, CPIP, and I'm trainer in this project. About the training course in Romania, it took place in October this year in Timișoara at Embassy Cafe. This is a special place we took because there are many cultural activities and events organized by the immigrants. So we had a partner, Aerodrom Timișoara, an organization which supports asylum seekers, refugees and migrants in Romania. At this course attended 20 people from different 7 countries: Syria, Iraq, Egypt, Afghanistan, some of them being students, others refugees in Romania. The following topics were discussed during the 2 days of the course: human rights, multiculturalism and intercultural exchange, and of course legal order aspects and models of integration. In the first day, we discussed about multiculturalism and intercultural exchange by our partner Flavius Ilioni Loga, which highlighted the essential aspects related to this topic, based strictly on the personal and professional experience gained in his work with migrants. We talk about the ideas and social behavior of a particular people of society, promoting intercultural exchange. We talk about differences between people and realize that there are very few. So we don't need to look each other by being totally different people, because we are not. Those are pictures from this event. Second part of the first day, my colleague Amalia Țăran, trainer in this project from CPIB Romania, she's a specialist in legal issues and legislation related to the migratory phenomenon. And she discussed about the historical perspective on human rights. She presented important documents, gave example of human rights defenders, and explaining the importance of human rights for the functioning of a democratic society. The presentation was also very well anchored in the life of the migrant in Romania, and managed to create a series of debates very important for the purpose of our project. Also some pictures from that part. Second day, very important aspects too were discussed then. Legal order aspects, I believe, in my opinion, very important in the process of integration and prevention of radicalization among immigrants, and of course models of integration. The first part, I presented it, and I thought preventing radicalization on the one hand and preventing victimization among migrants on the other hand are essential aspects of the project. The need to know of a migrant is very high, because when he arrives in a particular country with a total different language, culture, and maybe law, it's very important for him to be well informed of those differences in order not to become a victim, but not an author of a crime. Every country has a specific criminal background, and every new arrive must know how to protect himself in that country, in that region. Models of integration was a subject who Flavius Ilioni Loga, our partner, discussed about it. And he gave a captivating presentation with a permanent interaction with the audience, managing the extraction of the most important ideas related to the process and the integration capacity of migrants. I believe it's very important for all of us to look at any situation and any people around us empathy. Because we can succeed in this way to reduce radicalization cases among immigrants. Thank you.
So now the last speech. I'm sorry we are late, but we have already almost finished. And Daniela Fontanatti from our organization from Italy, CES Formazione, she will present very, very quickly because we have no time our training. Sorry for my horrible English. And I am a teacher, Italian teacher, trainer in this course. What has from the DOXA good practice, fundamental principle of the Constitution, Italian and the one from some other countries of origin. 2, work, education as a right and as a duty, and religions and fundamentalism. The main methodologies, workshops based on the main article on Italian Constitution, meeting with an expert in Islamic study, and a successful story of 2 integrated immigrants in Italy. Okay. Acquisition of the participant personal knowledge and experience, and interactive lessons. This is the group, always circle time, and the methodology, active methodologies. Okay, this is storytelling. The target group is a mixed group composed by 16 immigrants, majority new immigrants. Language level minimum A2, and 3 famous, 3 famous and 13 males, and 6 young adults about 20 years, and 10 minors staying in CES residential facilities for migrants, accompanied minors and asylum seekers. There are 11 nationalities. You can read this. This is the group during visit Marzabotto, and we have 6 meetings about 3 hours. In the first presentation of project, ice-breaking games and pair works on the description of an important religious national festival in the country of origin. Then 2 Italian Constitution fundamental articles on work. Experience telling, who is my teacher of life, what has been taught. The 3 meeting, a bit of history, fascism, Second World War and the founding of the Republic, the Italian Republic, and then a group work, very interesting, role-playing on writing a new constitution for a new republic. 4, educational visit to Marzabotto is near Bologna, on the sites of the Nazi fascist massacre. Meeting with Father Ignazio De Francesco, the one who started this project. Then 5 meeting. This is the voice. The real stories of 2 young immigrants, difficulties, solution, resource, perspective, advice, and question time. And during this meeting, we saw together a YouTube clip, Ben Kalema, you can find it in YouTube, To Live Together in Peace, rap song written and sung by some young immigrants in the Bologna CES facilities. It's very beautiful. The 6th meeting, The Law of Man and the Law of Good, meeting with an expert in Islamic studies. You can read, it's better than listening. 7 and 8 we have to do this, but
During these days, I asked them to write a letter, a diary, some reflection about, or a letter to a future child, anonymous in mother tongue, personal life story in Italy, difficulties, dreams, plans, regrets, epsilon, and so on. And during this meeting, I received a write from Somalo boys, and it's very, very interesting to read what was his life in Somalia and in Italy. And this letter, all together we constructed the script in a creative way. Perhaps a song, perhaps I don't know what we'll do in the next two meetings. Impact and result. This is the Islamic videos. The interest shown by the participants in our workshop activities and the good level of participation, the continuity between work carried out in the project and personal educational growth, chase involvement and residential facilities positive feedback, and acquisition of wider knowledge and greater awareness of the trainer of me. I learned a lot. This is the young migrants who tell their story. Recommendation, try to establish a climate of trust, listening and sharing, enhance the individual experience, the interrelationship and the intercultural dialogue in all the ways. Organize carefully each stage of the workshop. Take care of the group and the didactic method like cooperative learning, storytelling techniques, role-playing, and so on. Make use of opportunities offered in the territories, cultural initiative, volunteering, and so on. This is during the visit Marzabotto, Bologna, davanti cimitero,
in front of the cemetery.
Okay, it was a very important moment. This is the guide. Also at the start of the way. Okay. So it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, but because we are very late, Rodica told me that some of you have another section, so I'm sorry, but we have no time for questions or comment time. But Rodica told me that